Enter a hacker. You might be imagining a lone computer genius sitting in their basement trying to get into your bank account, or perhaps a young Matthew Broderick accidentally hacking into NORAD in the movie War Games. But consider this. In World War II, in the South Pacific, planes would come down and crash, and teams of mechanics would come out in the middle of the night with hacksaws and literally hack them apart and put them back together to build new planes. And they called themselves hackers. Hacking is really just creatively and quickly solving problems, and it's not necessarily limited to computers or technology. And today I'm going to talk about how you can hack your city and work together with your neighbors to solve community problems. So now let's talk for a second about the term civic. Unlike hacking, civic is a word that tends to have a very positive connotation. Like voting. Voting is a great way to participate in your civic life and your democracy, but voting isn't something that you get to do very often. Parades are also a great way to participate in your civic culture and to show your civic pride, but parades are also sort of a passive activity, even though they can be a lot of fun. Urbanist and activist Jane Jacobs said that cities have the capability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they are created by everybody. Created by everybody, what does that mean? How do you create your city? Well, through civic hacking. Civic hacking is working together quickly and creatively to help improve your community. What does that look like? This is Commonwealth Connect, which is a mobile app and website where you can go on and report issues on your street or in your community, like potholes or a street light that's out or graffiti or trash or anything like that, and the city can view reports and address them. This is Street Mix, which is an online interactive web application where you can go and design your dream street. And it's very easy to use, and this is the type of activity that used to be limited to urban planners and engineers, but now cities all over the country are using this to get citizen participation and input from the community about how to make better, complete streets for everybody. So if you think your street needs a bike lane, you can go onto Street Mix and show what that would actually look like. This is Neighborland, which is a nonprofit and interactive website where you can go and discuss ideas with your neighbors. So you could go onto this website right now and say, I want more murals in Shelburne Falls. And everybody in this room could say, oh, me too. That's something that I also want. And then you can use this network to discuss ideas about how to actually make it happen. And there are hundreds of other civic applications and websites out there that already exist. But they might not speak to the problems that you're having in your community. So you can not only use all of these great tools, but you can help design and create new tools yourself at a civic hackathon. A hackathon is an event that takes place over 24 to 48 hours where people pitch challenges and talk about problems, form teams around those challenges, brainstorm ideas, and prototype solutions. And hackathons can come in all shapes and sizes. It could be 5 friends together in a living room, or 500 people in a huge auditorium. And hackathons have been popular in trendy urban cities for many years. They're happening in places like San Francisco and Chicago and New York City. And I used to think that something like this couldn't happen here in quaint little Western Mass, but I was thrilled to be proven wrong. Hackathons aren't just limited to big cities anymore. They're happening in communities of all sizes all around the country. Just a few months ago was the first ever National Day of Civic Hacking, where there were over 100 events happening around the country, including right here in Western Mass. Along with 7 other passionate, creative local volunteers, I helped organize a civic hackathon right here in our own backyard. But when we first started planning Hack for Western Mass, I wasn't really sure who was going to come. You might think that these hackathons are limited to these tech-savvy people, designers and web developers, but I believe that to have a truly successful civic hackathon, you need everybody's participation. I think that everybody is a civic hacker. You can be a civic hacker. We really need everybody there from the community to make a difference. This is our advertisement for Hack for Western Mass. It's a simple flowchart that helps somebody decide if they should come, and it's just 4 basic questions. Now let me walk you through it. So, first of all, do you live in Western Mass? Well, if you don't, there's probably a civic hackathon happening in your city that you should go to. Do you think Western Mass could be better? Well, if you don't, that's okay, but if you don't really care, then maybe you should just stay home and watch Netflix. Do you like working with other people? It's okay if you're shy. I'm an introvert, but working together and collaborating on a team can be a lot of fun. But if you have the feeling that you're always right and everybody else is wrong, well, maybe you should just stay home and stick with your Netflix. And finally, do you know stuff? Yes, we need web and software developers and designers at hackathons, but we also need entrepreneurs and project managers to help keep projects on track. We need advocates and activists who are passionate and knowledgeable about the problems and the causes that we're trying to address. We need writers and bloggers who can help document the projects that are happening and get the word out in the community. And finally, we need you. We need citizens. You know what issues are happening in your community. You know what needs to be solved. You have that local knowledge about the types of problems that we're trying to address. But it's not enough to just invite people to a hackathon. It's important to really go the extra mile to make sure that it's actually a welcoming, inviting space. Well, what does accessibility mean? It means having family-friendly spaces and childcare, so that parents and families who otherwise wouldn't be able to come and commit to a weekend-long event can come to the hackathon, and the kids can have a lot of fun hacking too. It means having healthy food, it's pretty simple, but thanks to many generous local business sponsors, we were able to provide vegan and gluten-free meals, which is also a great way to reward people for their hard work and all of their hacking. It means having a code of conduct, which is just a simple set of community guidelines. And they're things that might seem like basic common sense and human nature, like being respectful. But stating them explicitly really helps make it a safe space for everybody. So once you have, just getting people to the hackathon is only part of the battle. Once they're there, well, what problems are you actually going to solve? Defining problems clearly can be just as important as actually finding solutions for them. And at Hack for Western Mass, we did a lot of outreach to nonprofits and community businesses and local governments to think about the types of problems that could be addressed at a hackathon. And a lot of them have to do with information. Maybe it's collecting information from the community that you don't have, or maybe you have a lot of great information that you want to share and get out in the world and share with people. Or maybe you have information that's really complex and important, and you want to help people understand it so they can make more informed decisions. One of the challenges at our hackathon was put forth by a group called Community Action, which is a regional organization that provides safety net services. And they wanted to make a map so they could see where their services are most needed and where there might be gaps. So they ended up with this website where they combined data from the census that shows where there's poverty with data that they had of where they were already providing their services so that they can see at a glance where there might be gaps. And this is something that a team of people is still working on. It's a work in progress. They've been working on it for months and months after the hackathon. Another challenge was from a group in the hill towns that wanted a way to be able to share information about seeds that they had that they wanted to share with their neighbors. And since it was sort of a spread out community of a lot of small towns, they didn't really have a great centralized way to do that. So they built the Hilltown Seed Saving Network, where anybody can go on and make an account and share information about seeds that they had from their garden or their farm and see what seeds that their neighbors may have so that they can share them. So we ended up with these and many other great apps and projects that came out of our hackathon, and there are hundreds of other projects like this, but civic hacking really isn't about it's about more than just making apps. It's more about the process than these products. It's about introducing people to a new way of getting things done. Civic hacking it's the opposite of bureaucracy. Instead of just talking about something or forming a committee, it's about actively taking action. And it's about experimenting and prototyping, exploring new ideas and seeing what works and what doesn't. And the greatest outcomes of civic hacking are, yes, there are lots of great apps, but it's really about forming stronger connections with our neighbors, with each other, with our community. We had 100 people here at Hack for Western Mass, and many of us would have never met each other and now are working together on other projects. And civic hacking gives us a greater sense of place and a sense of ownership over these places that we live, and a sense of control that if there's a problem, well, we can just work together to do something about it. So I hope you consider attending a hackathon or even hosting your own hackathon. You could do one at your school, in your business, in your neighborhood. It's not very hard. So the next time you feel frustrated or you're having some sort of challenge in your community, all you have to do is go out and hack your city. Thank you.